We're going to talk about a tool that I actually use quite rarely, to be honest, but it's a modeling method that quite a few people use anyway, so I need to tell you about it. I know how it works, but it's true that it's not my way of operating. So you'll understand, here I have a cube and a sphere. These cubes and that sphere will be useful to me because with the Boolean tool, I will be able to perform several operations with these two meshes. I will be able to merge them together, meaning they will form just one single mesh, but not in the way of a merge. They will form just one single mesh because they will be really glued together. A little bit more like what we saw with the target hold, you will definitely see. We can easily perform this union. We can also do a subtraction, meaning that we will carve into our cube with this sphere. We can also do an addition, and what else can we possibly do? We can do a lot of other things, but for this case, we can especially perform an intersection, which is also well known. The rest we don't really use. Let's take a look at this. So I will move my sphere closer to my cube. I will select my cube and then my sphere. I will do a shift right click. And here I have Boolean. So you see that it's a new thing. Well, Boolean has been around for a while, but they completely revamped it in the version 2023. But this is something that is indeed very, very well known, the Booleans. So if I actually press union and main, you can see that there has been the union of the two meshes. So if I switch to wireframe, if I set it up like this, you can see that it shows me the history of what happened, meaning it was cut by Maya and all these junctions were joined with the cube. That is to say, if I have fun moving them here, you can see that they are indeed actually attached together. So it's handy for creating shapes really quickly. So if I move it there will be a sort of ghost. It's a little bit, as I told you, the history that is in the tribute editor. So we just basically need to add the DDT narrative in order to have something all neat. In fact, it allows us to avoid issues if we make a mistake and no longer want to perform that operation. We can change it. If I want, I can use Ctrl-Z, so we will be able to change it. So we come back. We are going to place our sphere right there, and we also have exactly the difference. The difference is really practical too because it gives us something that would normally take a long time to do. So really good, if I remember correctly. There you go. If I remember correctly, we can move in real time so that the Boolean adapts. And once we are happy with our operation, indeed we can say about the history, and also honestly, in real time, it's really well done. And it's really handy. I don't use it specifically, but it's true that it can be super useful. You can have fun quite easily and enjoyably. So therefore, I do Z checks again. And we actually have a whole bunch of operations like that. We also have the intersection, which will allow us to obtain only the intersection between the two meshes. There are also many various types of different procedures that will do the opposite. And then the rest I invite you to test. We will test one to see what it is. We have the slice that will take the contours of the edges of our cube and thus transform them into edge loops on our sphere. So there you go. I told you there are a lot of operations. They can be useful to you, or they may not be. I use them quite rarely, but I admit that they are incredibly powerful, and honestly, they allow you to create shapes that can be very complex in no time. But the small issue is the handguns that are inevitably present. It's unavoidable to have handguns, and this is where perhaps the Quadro can combine with the Boolean to create a topology that is much better.